Hi, this is Professor Mike Strahan. I'm the library liaison to the Deaf Studies program here at Northern Michigan University. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about how to cite sources using APA style. And the program here at Northern, the instructors require that you use a different way of citing in text than what you normally would when you're paraphrasing. We'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to start off by accessing the AP Style Guide. You can reach it through Educat. You can also reach it through the library homepage. And the URL up here is nmu.libguides.com/AP-style-7th-edition. Whenever you have any questions, you can contact me directly through this guide. You can reach out to me via live chat. If this box is closed, then that means I'm unavailable to help students and faculty. But you can email me anytime. I'm available for live assistance weekdays from 1 to 5 Eastern Time and 8:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Yes, I'm the only librarian who's on duty after 5 p.m. And this is weekdays only. I do check my email on weekends. You can also schedule an appointment with me. So let's talk about APA style. The guide is constantly being revised. I've had APA style guides through Northern's library online since 1998. So the fifth edition to sixth edition and the current seventh edition. This is the seventh edition, this is the current edition. Came out October 1st, 2019. I have some introductory information about how you can access paper copies of the manual. The guide does not replace the manual. Also, the library itself and the staff, and especially the library faculty, we are not the APA police. We do not enforce the style. That is done by your course instructors, or if you're writing for a journal, by the editor. And you, as a student, are ultimately responsible for getting AP style correct. I have an AP style tips and troubleshooting guide separate from this guide. It's very comprehensive, shows you how to lay out your manuscript, how to do little things like how do I format numbers? How do I format grade levels? How do I format abbreviations? Things like that. It's very extensive, and I encourage you to use it. The main guide here has been used since 1998. It has been used over 2.4 million times. We encourage you to continue to use it. First thing I have here is out of Chapter 8 of the APA Manual, 7th edition. It shows how to cite in text in both parenthetical and narrative form. The Deaf Studies program requires you to also include page numbers, whether you're directly quoting or whether you are paraphrasing. And I will show examples of that in a little bit here. If you have a list of sources and you want to double check to see whether they were assigned DOIs, you can click on this link, copy and paste all your references in the box, and it will provide you with those assigned DOIs. Keep in mind that just because an article was assigned a DOI doesn't mean that the publisher is required to provide it on the article. They are not. There's no standards for this. But this tool will help you identify whether those works have DOIs assigned to them or not. I also have a number of APA style videos for the 7th edition. The most popular one is how to insert page numbers, and also if you're doing a professional level paper, how to insert the running head. And I have a number of those, 10 of them to be exact. And then at the bottom, we have a link to our library guides for the latest versions of Zotero. The latest version as of this recording on June 1st is Zotero 9. We also have part of that guide shows you how to customize suggested things for that. And keep in mind that Zotero is not a citation engine. It is a comprehensive research manager. It helps keep you all of your research together. It goes way beyond just creating a reference for you. If you have any questions, contact me. I have a separate guide for if you're new to APA style or if you're transitioning from MLA style to APA style. And apastyle.org also provides a really good handout online for how to format numbers. When do you write them as numerals? When do you write them as words? Some other handouts that they provide. So let's talk about deaf studies specific resources. Even though alphabetically A for articles comes first, I'm going to start with books and book chapters because often that is what you are using and citing the most, are either textbooks for the course or textbooks recommended, or just regular books recommended that you read for courses. So the examples I have here for deaf studies include, let's scroll down here, I have Past the Nursing, Past the Children's Literature. I have For Hearing People Only. For Hearing People Only is a 1-volume. It's actually 2 volumes. I show how you cite an entry from volume 2. Keep in mind that even though this particular work has editors, the chapters are also written by the editors. There are not separate authors for each chapter. So you would not use the chapter example further on this guide. You provide, with APA style, you provide the author last names, first and middle initials, or other middle initials that they use. There's always an and sign before the last author. There's no comma here after the period before the parentheses. Some people like to put that in. Indicate that these are editors. The year of publication for this book was 2016. You provide the title of the book. Note capitalization. First word in the title, first word following a colon. I always recommend capitalizing the word deaf, because even though it primarily is used to refer to the community, that is most of the time what you are citing. You would write the word deaf in lowercase if you're talking about a medical condition, hard of hearing type of situation. But often sources are also talking about how individuals are part of a deaf community, and for that, I recommend capitalizing it. You also indicate the name of the edition, and in this case, because it's a 2-volume set, you have to indicate which volume this appears in. Because this is not an edited book with separately authored chapters, we don't include the page number. We do, however, include the publisher. And this would be the case whether you're accessing this book online or in print. Now, citing this work in text, I mentioned before, and also in the other video, about library resources for deaf studies. All of the time, you're going to be using the direct quote example, whether it's for this reference or for other references. meaning you include the author last names, the year of publication, and the page number. And this applies whether you're paraphrasing or whether you're providing a direct quote, especially when you're providing a direct quote. And if there's more than one page, if it splits a page, you would put PP period followed by that page range. Another example I have here in books, that's the primary one I wanted to show you. The other one that we have here, past the Native American, is an authored book from an academic research database or print version. This has one author, Deaf Education. Also notice when you're using APA style, actually any style, it's important that you capitalize proper nouns, people's, places, things. In this case, this is continent, it's Europe, so we would always capitalize it. And the same thing, we italicize the title, we apply our capitalization rules, and we also include the publisher at the end. And when citing either paraphrasing or direct quoting, you're going to include the author, the year, and the page number. Okay, let's jump down to, let's go actually up to articles. When you're citing articles, I have tools to help you determine whether a DOI has been assigned or not. I also have that section on this guide. And let's take a look at some of these. I don't have a specific example for a deaf studies article, but I do have this article. And this particular journal uses what's called an article number. So when you go to look at the article itself, it only has one page number. And this is it. They actually preface it with an E. Most journals that use article numbers or E-locators don't preface that number with an E, but you'll usually see this value appear on every single page. There also will be a PDF individual page. So like for this one, you list all the authors. AP rule is you list the first 20. If you've got 21 or more, you list the first 19 followed by the last author. You include the year of publication, the title of the article. Note it's not in italicized, like some people think. It's in regular font. You then capitalize all the significant words in the title of a journal. This is PLOS 1. They actually prefer that it be done in all caps. You also italicize the volume number, but not the issue number in parentheses. Then, because this is using an article number instead of regular, usual, normal pagination, you preface that value with the word article. And then if there's a DOI assigned to it, you provide that DOI. If you've retrieved the article directly from one of the library's multiple full text databases, you do not, and it wasn't assigned a DOI, you do not include the URL. That is part of the newer APA 7 rules. For direct quoting, because this work had 3 or more authors, you're going to write first author at all, the year, and also the specific page number. And this applies whether you're paraphrasing or directly quoting for deaf studies. For regular pages, like we have a range here, you would just include that page number. Next, let's take a look at, well, how do we reference dictionaries, Professor Strahan? Well, I have examples for that specifically for deaf studies. We click on the dictionaries example and go past the general dictionary, and I have a chapter. When you have entries in a dictionary, they're treated like chapters. So you include the author of that section. Sometimes they're separate from the work as a whole. you include the title of the chapter or the entry. In this case, it was a video. And you say in and then followed by, because this is a video dictionary, you would include then the title of the video dictionary, the date you retrieved it, and the link that goes directly to it. The reason I say this, that you include the data retrievals, because online dictionaries and online encyclopedias, their content changes. The exception to that is if it's in PDF form, but if it's in HTML form, it will constantly change and by design, and you would include a data retrieval for that. I also have example for encyclopedias and depth studies. Go past the medical ones. And we have the Sage Depth Studies Encyclopedia, a premier comprehensive encyclopedia for depth studies. History, you name it. I talked about that in the previous video about our resources. This has editors, but it also has, each entry was authored by an individual person. You write their last name, their first initial, middle initials if they have it, the year the book was published. You have the name of the entry. In this case, Japan is always capitalized. Deaf is always capitalized because it follows, in this case, it follows a colon, and it would normally be any, also too, because it's talking about a community. Then you say in followed by the editors, and note that the editors are written not last name first, but first initials followed by last names. Tell a reader that they're editors. You have the title, and it's the Sage Deaf Studies Encyclopedia, and you include the page numbers of the entire range of that entry, not just the one that you used. Also include, in this case, that Sage is the publisher, and this book, this encyclopedia, was actually assigned a DOI, so you're allowed to include that. If you had retrieved it online and it didn't have a DOI, you can ignore that unless this was an HTML version of an encyclopedia, then you would include that URL. Same thing, you're doing a direct quote for all the different types of in-text citations. I also have an example for the Gallaudet Encyclopedia. We talked about that before. It's a digitized version. This has both an author of an entry and also an editor-in-chief. Because it's multi-volume, you indicate what volume it is and the page numbers within that volume. And also that the publisher in this case is McGraw-Hill. The final entry I have here is near the bottom. It's an encyclopedia where there is no author entry name provided, meaning the entry itself has no author. So you skip that part. You provide the authors or editors, in this case, authors of the dictionary. You include the title of the entry following the publication date. You say in, and you provide the title of the book. In this case, it was a second edition, updated, and you provide the page number range of that entry and also the publisher. Next thing we're going to look at is course materials. I don't have specific examples for deaf studies, but I wanted to show this to you anyway, because of the fact that often you're citing works talked about in class, provided, and materials provided by the instructor. It could be a handout, could be something else, something that the instructor created. So in this case, I have a PowerPoint slide. The instructor was Dr. Christopher Binia, and the full date that this was created, the title of it, since she used PowerPoint slides, indicate such, and then indicate the course because this was provided inside NMU Educat, our course management system, you include the title of that and also the login webpage. You don't provide the exact page where this information appears inside of a course. You would do a direct quote, and because it would be a PowerPoint slide, you would include author's last name, the date, and the slide number. So you have more variation in there. The last thing I want to show you is examples of how to reference videos. We had 2 sets of videos that you'll be using in this class and other Deaf Studies classes. And we have things, I don't have a YouTube example, but I'm going to show this to you anyway. You indicate the name in the author position, you indicate who uploaded the video. The year it was uploaded, the full date it was uploaded. Don't abbreviate the month. Provide the full title of that video and also include in square brackets that it's a video, as opposed to something like another type of format, because there's more than just videos on there. There's also podcasts on there, so you can indicate a podcast instead. You indicate YouTube because that is the website who's hosting the video, and you provide the full URL that will take a reader to the video. And then to cite a passage, you're going to use the direct quote, which consists of the author who uploaded it, the year, and the beginning timestamp of the section that you're directly quoting from. What I also have here is we have our DVD set, and I provided an example on the Deaf Studies Guide, but I also provide an example here. So you have the 2 people. If you don't have the names of a producer or a director, you are allowed under APA rules to include the presenters, provide their full last name, their initials, indicate that they're presenters, indicate the year that the DVD was created, include the title, and notice that American Sign Language, all the words are capitalized because that is considered a proper noun. Same as if it said German language, both words would be capitalized. Because these are sometimes multi-volumes, you indicate the volume number. In square brackets, you indicate that it was a film and it's also an educational DVD. Then you list the production company, which is Everyday ASL Productions. They're considered the publisher. And then APA style requires that you provide a link, even though the video itself was in DVD format, you provide the link of where I can find more information about this specific video. When you go to cite it, same thing as you did with the YouTube video, you're going to include the authors, the year, and the timestamp of the beginning of the passage. It is not a range. If you have any questions, please contact me through my information over here on the left. You can email me. I'm always answering emails, even on weekends. You can chat me if the chat box is open. I'm available Mondays through Fridays, weekdays from 1 to 5 in the afternoon and 8:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern time at night. And this is a year-round schedule. What also may interfere with that are meetings, conferences, things like that, vacation. I work 12 months year-round, so don't hesitate to contact me. If you want to schedule an appointment, click on here, fill out the form, and we'll get together via a variety of means, either Zoom or Google Meet, or even in person here in my office here in the library in Hardin Hall. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.